Thanks. It was a loud day to be on the grounds at EAA AirVenture with all types of military aircraft performing maneuvers using pyrotechnics to simulate a warlike atmosphere. We spoke to people along the flight line who had a front row seat. Flying by fast and furious, Thursday's air show featuring military planes performing an exercise gave those on the ground a sense of what it was like for U.S. service members during a time of war.
It's such an inspirational thing to think of what people before us went through to protect our freedoms and make this country what it is. And then when they do their pyrotechnics out here and you feel the explosions and things to just reinforce a little bit, yeah, it's definitely inspiring, I guess.
It's all part of this year's theme, marking the country's 250th celebration. For pilots, it was also an opportunity to show off a bit, performing stunts normally reserved for a Hollywood movie.
To see these pilots doing what they do, I love. Having flown a bit myself, I can really appreciate everything they do up there in the air, and it's actually quite thrilling for me.
The air show also featuring a military plane with several people parachuting down to the runway. Other stunts included pilots doing loops, flips, and dives up and down as people cheered for more.
It's spectacular, the level of fitness they have to be able to withstand the G-forces. You know, you look at an airplane and it looks like it's doing these graceful maneuvers, and inside that pilot is getting slapped around inside that airplane because of the violence of the maneuvers. It's really something.
AirVenture runs through Sunday with afternoon shows each day, plus its second night air show this Saturday.